Allison Kinnear here. Today we are going to talk about imposter syndrome. We're going to talk about it not just this week, but next week as well. And what we're going to be talking about are the conditions that can be ripe to feed imposter syndrome. Because imposter syndrome doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's not like you wake up one day and you've caught the imposter syndrome virus. There are conditions that can take even the most confident people, even the people who know that they are excellent at their work, they know that they are competent, and it can plant lots of seeds of self-doubt. So we're going to break those down. We're going to do the first 4 in this video, and we'll do the next 3 in the next video. So first of all, where does this research come from? A lot of this research comes from Valerie Young, Secret Thoughts of Successful Women. Now, you may be watching, you may not be a woman, but that doesn't matter. It's really about imposter syndrome and how it works and what you can do about it. So it's a really great book. I suggest that if you are interested in learning more about this and becoming more aware, then get yourself a copy and learn more. Okay, number 1. The first condition or good reason to feel like an imposter are messages from childhood. If you grew up in a family where you were not allowed to make mistakes, where failure was something to be ashamed of, where you weren't really allowed to talk about or celebrate your successes, if those kinds of conditions existed in your family, or if you were taught that you always had to be achieving more and doing more in order to earn your worth in your family, these are things that can just be embedded in almost in a part of our DNA, right? We show up and we're already kind of thinking, I have to earn, I have to prove and prove my worth, prove myself. And yet that metric of like, when have you finally proven it? That can almost never come. If we're never looking for our celebrations, if we are not opening ourselves up to letting in the positives about ourselves or our inherent worthiness, if we can't touch that yet, that could be just messages from childhood that are there that show up as imposter syndrome later in life. Number 2, you work alone. If you work alone, as many entrepreneurs do, as many people in the arts do, if your job has, as many of us who are working from home, if you work in isolation, you are going to doubt yourself more. You don't have your sounding boards, people, your community. You don't know what's normal to feel like. So when we work in isolation, when we have jobs where we have limited interaction, or maybe we're interacting, but we're not really sitting down and talking about the nature of the work, then that can be really hard. This is why with any entrepreneurs, when I work a lot with budding coaches that are just starting in their work, we need each other. We need community. It's important to get together because your struggles, as soon as you find out the struggles that you're having are common and you have other people to work it through, suddenly those problems that seem so big are become really little. So working alone is definitely a condition that can increase feelings of imposter syndrome. Number 3, you work in a creative field. If you are creating something that has never existed before, whether that is arts or whether that is in the constant innovation of technology, whatever it may be, if you are creating something that either the world has never seen before or that you have never created before, the feelings of self-doubt are absolutely going to creep in. This is once again why entrepreneurs, people who are launching businesses, especially in the tech field, can feel, and arts and creative fields, can feel overwhelmed and almost crippled by imposter syndrome. Who am I to be in charge of this? Who am I to create this? Those are the thoughts that can be cultivated in a field of innovation and creativity. Okay, number 4, you are a student or you are a learner. It is no surprise that college students often suffer from imposter syndrome. They don't Everybody seems smarter than them. They don't know if they're worthy of this of being in such esteemed places, right? But this extends beyond the college or university scene. Anytime you are learning, you're in a position of learning something new. You've just been promoted. You're tackling a new kind of project. You're in a new field. Anytime that you are in a learner situation where you suddenly have to figure things out, new subject matter, whatever the case may be, when you're in that reorienting learning phase, you may be racked with more self-doubt, with more, am I the right person for this job? How did I even get here? Was this a total fluke? Did somebody not notice that I don't know what I'm doing? All of those feelings that are a characteristic of imposter syndrome can absolutely flood in when we are in a position of learning. These are the conditions. These are four. There are more conditions that impact feeling like imposter syndrome. So I want you to know that even if you have total confidence in yourself and you feel really capable of your abilities in the workplace, imposter syndrome doesn't have to be something crippling. It's not something necessarily that you're ever going to get rid of, because these conditions around learning something new, around creating something new, around working in isolation, or your own childhood messages, the family comes around and you suddenly are back in your childhood state. All of these conditions can come up at any time. And if the feelings of imposter syndrome well up in you, then you can then turn your curiosity towards some of these conditions. Messages from your childhood. Are you working alone? Are you having to learn something new? Are you creating or innovating in a way that you haven't done before? If those conditions are there, then you can kind of go, okay, maybe it's not me. Maybe I'm not a fraud. Maybe these are just the conditions that can really breed that self-doubt. And I hope that when you get that awareness and suddenly you can tame all of those impeding feelings of imposter syndrome so that you can have a smoother runway to do the work that you're here to do. That is what I have for you next week. We are going to talk about, these are things that, are just kind of the nature of the job. But next time we are going to talk about conditions they're not exactly good reasons to feel like an imposter. These are conditions that we can definitely do better as a society and as leaders so that we can diminish the amount of imposter syndrome in our colleagues and our employees and the people around us. But that is next week. I will see you then. Take care. Bye.